851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
The COVID-19 pandemic has sparked the end for many different aircraft types, however none more noticeable you could argue than the quad-engine jets, with airlines around the world rapidly phasing out these four-engine beasts, whether it be the A380, 747 or even A340. These aircraft are simply now not needed with the lack of demand, and with many ageing and airlines unable to put these large capacity planes on routes, it's the perfect time to unfortunately say goodbye. Before I begin, if you're interested in joining a smaller community where discussions are encouraged, feel free to jump across to my Twitter. It's at DJ's Aviation. We're almost at 10k followers. In recent hours, Air France announced that it'll be retiring all its Airbus A380s with immediate effect. The airline currently, as of May the 5th, has 9 grounded Airbus A380s. However, all of those will now be removed earlier than first expected. The Air France/KLM group had already announced just last year that they would phase out the aircraft series by the end of 2022. However, given the COVID-19 pandemic, it now makes sense to accelerate the decision to retire all remaining aircraft. In a statement, the Air France-KLM group said, 5 of the Airbus A380 aircraft in the current fleet are owned by Air France or on finance lease, while 4 are on operating lease. The global impact of the Airbus A380 phase-out write-down is estimated at €500 million and will be booked in the second quarter of 2020 as a non-current cost/expenses. These A380s that are being retired will now be replaced with the Boeing 787 and Airbus A350, which are indeed still being delivered, although at the moment that is not a priority. It's a true changing of the times what we're going through, as more and more carriers move towards efficient twin-engine jets like the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787 over these quad-engine jets. Back in 2018, Air France announced that it would be retiring 5 of their A380s while keeping the remaining 5 and refresh the inside of them with a brand new cabin. As mentioned earlier, the 5 that were set to be retired were indeed the ones that were on a lease, and the retirements were set to begin in late 2019. Meanwhile, from late 2020, the airline was set to refurbish and also reconfigure the remaining 5. It's a cost that was going to be roughly at around €45 million per aircraft refurbishment. However, this quickly changed, with the airline then noting they'd retire all by 2022, and now, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we will not see the return of the A380 with Air France, ever. For a lot of people, they wanted to see Air France continue operating the Airbus A380 long into the future, even if it was not possible realistically. While the cabins were indeed always somewhat dated compared to many of the competitors around, also operating the A380, with the promise of a new cabin for 5 of them back in 2018, it made many potentially excited to try out Air France again. However, it does simply not work within their current operations anymore, and it is something we are indeed seeing now occur widely across the board. And it's rather unfortunate, as for me personally, the Airbus A380 was the first wide-body aircraft I flew on, and was also the first time I ever flew internationally out of Australia. It was on an Airbus A380, and it was truly incredible, and it's my go-to long-haul operations aircraft of choice. Unfortunately now, that is likely going to have to change, with more and more airlines retiring the beast. What are your thoughts on Air France announcing the retirement immediately of all the remaining Airbus A380s? Let me know as always, and thank you very much for your continued support. I'll see you all next time.